Coming to you live from downtown Detroit, this is Benzinga's PreMarket Prep with your host, Joel Elconin.
This is a volatile puppy here, isn't it?
And Dennis Dick.
I'm bidding a penny. I will buy the stock for a penny.
With everything you need to start your trading day.
Good morning, everybody. Happy Thursday. Welcome to today's PreMarket Prep. Oh, I shouldn't say morning. I don't know where you are.
Wrong mic alert. Wrong mic alert.
Good morning if you're in North America. Good evening if you're in Asia, wherever you are. Happy Thursday. Welcome to PreMarket Prep. Spencer Israel, Joel Elconin, Dennis Dick. Guys, I dressed up for you today. I dressed up.
Look at this.
Look, I'm wearing a sport coat. Look at that.
Wow, I don't even own a sport. I don't even think I own a sport coat. I'm pretty sure I don't, because Joel yelled at me last time I went to New York. He's like, "Well, just wear your sport coat." And I was like, "I don't have a sport jacket. Why would I have a sport jacket? I barely have a suit."
If you notice in that intro video, there is that clip of Dennis speaking, and he's just wearing a button down. He's not wearing a sport coat or anything. So that might be.
I think it's absolutely true.
All right.
Joel's yelled at me for that before. He's like, "Go out there and buy one."
Question of the day.
I don't go anywhere.
Question of the day: new rally or dead cat bounce? So many out of favor stocks rallied yesterday. Whether it's SPACs, whether it's Fubo, whether it's Skills, whether it's Viacom or Discovery, we're going to talk about that and try to answer that question: new rally or dead cat bounce? We have a couple of earnings on our radar. A notable rating this morning from Goldman Sachs that is moving some EV stocks. And our guest today is a good one. Peter Tuchman normally joins us at 9, joining us at 8:35 today. He is the Einstein of Wall Street. He's from Wall Street Global Trading Academy. He's going to be speaking to us not from the floor, but from his house today. And we're going to end at 9. And then I'm going to pivot. I'm going to roll on over to the next small cap conference today. The Clean Tech Small Cap Conference on Earth Day, right? Earth Day, Clean Tech, get it, all right. So I'll be on there starting at around 9:30 or so. In the meantime, everyone smash that like button, hit subscribe to Benzinga or Benzinga Clips. Let us know how we're doing here. Joel, bring up those charts and tell us how we're doing in the overnight market.
We're down 5 1/4 at 41.59.50 in the S&Ps. Crude's down 22 cents at 61.13. Gold is in the red by $8.30 at 17.84. It's called 84.80. Also, silver in the red by 14.5 cents at 26.42.5. And then Bitcoin, that's in the red too by $510. Before I bring Triple D in, we will not be doing the 3:30 show here on this channel, but we will be doing it on the PreMarket Prep YouTube channel. I'll be bringing in Rob Friesen of Stock Odds, and we're just gonna talk quantitative trading and data and where the markets are heading. So I will be tweeting out a link. So don't worry, folks. There will be a 3:30 show. It will be me and Rob Friesen. So tune in for that. We'll go over a lot of good stuff. Triple D. We got some some stocks way up on some earnings, and got some good movement here.
I think we got to start with the SPAC rally yesterday. We got to give props first to Mitch, because he's been calling for it for a while, but we also got to give props to Sean Udall, who came on our show with a perfect timed call saying, "I'm calling today a bottom in SPACs." And the stock picks that he gave yesterday on the SPACs, we got him out of him. He didn't want to give the names off the bat, and then he gave us 3 good names. Open, huge day for OPEN yesterday. Desktop Metal, DM, was up 15%. He gave us MILE, huge day for that stock as well. I believe he also mentioned Root, which wasn't a SPAC, but that was up too. It was a day where the hated stocks, the stocks that have not been participating in any of the up days, finally got a relief pop. Fisker had a very good day yesterday. Obviously not a good morning with the Goldman downgrade, but we'll get to that in a second. But Skills, big day for SKL Zebra. The follow through here this morning. Commentary from Biden on EV is helping all these plays here again. It's a big move. The question to be asked now, though, is this just a relief rally, like a 1 or 2 day thing, a dead cat bounce, or is this the start of a new uptrend? I'm going to go out on a limb and say nobody knows anything.
Okay, so you talk about Mitch and you talk about Sean, right? But let me see if I can hold on. If you guys can hear this real quick.
What do you got for me?
We don't know.
I don't know either.
Wait, hold on a second. Hold on.
Hold up to his mic. All right, let's see if it's,
I can do it.
Is this going to work?
Yeah.
You got to plug that thing in.
We're about to find out.
This is very interesting when Joel starts to mix.
Yeah, wait, I should have rigged this
with
up before here.
Yeah.
Let me see. I'm gonna go speak. No, I don't want to call Sean because it's kind of early to call him. This should be easier to do.
While you figure,
hold on 1 second. I got it.
Okay, while you figure that out, Mitch just brought up his SPAC watch list. You can see
this morning.
A lot of green there.
Yeah, there is continued up movement in most of the SPACs this morning. Skills is up another $2. I'm not sure if there's a Skills report or something. Why is Skills? I know Kathy bought some more, but
I think they got some love in Motley Fool.
Is that what it was? Because this is trading like there's news on it too, and that's not just a Kathy pop. That's something else. Up another 13%. I will say on Skills before Joel gets to it, $20, man. I'll beat the technicals on this one. It is a huge psychological level. It is a huge technical level on the chart. What does it do at 20? If I bought this yesterday, I'd be ringing the register. Probably now, but you might get it up towards the upper 19s. You got to think 20 is going to be huge resistance for it, though. Joel, did you figure it out?
Wait, Joel.
What do you got, Mitch?
Well, yesterday on SPACs Attack, and this is why you guys got to watch SPACs Attack. I mean, if you're missing SPACs Attack, you're doing it all wrong in SPACs. I mean, look at the top 2 stocks on my watch list are Rival and Rush Street Interactive. Guess what 2 stocks I gave yesterday?
Nice, Mitch.
Rival and RSI.
Nice,
and the other
Mitch.
one was NGA. And then one more, not being on here that you can see much, but Genie. That's the one that just transferred over from DMYD, Genius Sports, the best in sports data.
What's the symbol on Genie?
It's literally GENI.
GENI. Huge move for that one too.
Can you pull it? I know we have a little bit of. Let me pull up that.
I got it. Oh, you got it.
Okay, I got it right here.
Okay, here's the voicemail from Sean. Yo, buddy, I'm giving you all the credit. I was prepared to call the SPAC bottom on Monday, and you said I should wait until Wednesday. Let's do it on Wednesday. That's all I can say, man. You called the bottom.
So
that was the voicemail.
You stalled him for 2 days. Joel knew. This is Joel's bottom. We're going to say the Elconin SPAC bottom going forward here.
I was looking at those charts, and I'm like, holy mackerel. Look at that. Those things are going down, and he's like, they're not indexes. They're not indexes. But, no, they made a move. I guess that news that the SEC's cracking down a little bit, they kind of repeated that again. I don't know if that's going to stop the momentum, but big days. Now the question is, do you want to chase them? Or do you want to see if they come back in? And, man, all those people that were short, the third short report in a month on Skills, they nicked the bottom in it yesterday. And so you just got it. Now it's trading up in the pre-market, 1907.
Yeah, 12 to 19 in 2 days. Wow. That's a hell of a 2-day move. That's a nice move. Again, if you're doing it this way and you're buying it at 19 right now when it was 12 yesterday, 12.40 yesterday, holy mackerel. I don't know. That is the definition of chasing when you're buying some up 40%. That's up 40% in a day and a half. That is a big move.
Yeah, you got to look for some retracement, a little bit of retracement at least.
Well, yeah, just to come out and start chasing, it's tough. But what about the pre-SPAC deals, the pre-deal ones, Mitch? Because some of those did not rally whatsoever.
Before we get into that one, I wanted to talk about Genie because it changed a pattern yesterday that we normally see. So normally when we see this kind of change of ticker, we usually see a downturn, not an upturn. I think this very much could start showing that there is a SPAC bottom, because when you start seeing the patterns change, that's usually when the stories start changing. And so that's when I'm going to start paying attention. Do we start getting some mergers to actually go through with the vote and then the stock goes up, because normally after the merger we get the stock to go down. And so this is a real change of pattern here in Genie. And now let's watch if this one just starts leading. That's a big green bar and a big reversal there on that chart. So let's see if it really starts ripping and starts leading. This is one of the favorites in the SPAC game because of the revenue, because of the partnerships, and a strong management team behind it. Niccolo De
What's the
Masi.
symbol on that one?
It's GENI.
Okay, I thought that was a pretty, like, I Dream of Genie.
Yeah, someone thought on that name.
Boom, boom. Let's see here. Boy, that's down 33 cents here. Genius Sports Limited. I don't know. Man, tough chart. Let's see what happened. Really, you got to worry about 1978. That was the high yesterday, closed near the high, and then a couple highs over 20. So we'll see what happens. It is trading red. Where are those two highs at? You got one at 20.25 and the other at 20.30. So got to take out yesterday's high. Got to get to those pair of highs right there. Big green bar after that, but already trading a little bit red here in the pre-market.
It's a very important day for all these SPACs. They need to build on it. We know about the 2-day move, and the 2-day move is when you get a counter reversal rally, which we saw yesterday, or then you usually get follow through the next morning, which is what we're seeing in most of these, is the follow through where the chasers come in and say, oh, it was up, now I got to get in. And a lot of times those moves start to reverse course just after the open, 9:40, 9:50. So if I was in some of these stocks, I'd probably be looking to ring the register in that time. Again, though, they have been massively oversold. So, I mean, let's go back to Skills. It's $45 2 months ago, went down to 12. It's up to 19. Is there room to 25? Is there, if the 50% retracement would take it up to like 27 or 28 bucks? So, it's kind of in the middle of nowhere. So if you're shorting it, you could get run over on this thing. If you're long it, I'm buying it here now. Well, I'd like a dip to buy as opposed to buying a 40% rip in 2 days. So, I mean, it's tricky. These are hard stocks to trade, but they've been going straight down for so long. They were all massively oversold. The question is, again, is this just a dead cat bounce? Which so far, you've got to still be skeptical because we've got a lot of overhead supply, a lot of bag holders in these stocks too.
You want to hear something?
Go ahead.
Tell me something, Mitch.
Go ahead.
So the biggest, someone's mentioning it in the chat. That's why I wanted to bring it up. And the biggest name that I saw a little bit of a reversal start happening is CCIV. And I talked about the 20 break on this chart, CCIV, and Lucid Motors. This is probably one of the biggest cult-like following stocks right now.
Right.
So that's why I'm watching this one. We need a leader. And I've been talking about this in the SPAC game. Can we get a leader to really just start ripping and changing sentiment? And I think those are the two charts to watch. Skills, CCIV, keep your eyes on those two, because if they really start ripping, I think that's how you really start seeing the SPAC game come back.
We've had a leader. CCIV has been the leader for the last month and a half. This started when CCIV officially announced their deal, and the stock fell 50% the next day. CCIV has absolutely been the leader of the SPAC downfall. So it's a good point to Mitch to say to watch CCIV, because if it starts to catch a bid, then maybe they can get a sustained bid in some of these other ones. CCIV has definitely been your leader, and it's been your leader on the downside. It was your leader on the upside in January and February and March. There's no doubt about, or January and February, there's no doubt about that too. That stock kept going up, and they were buying SPACs, and everybody's getting all excited. The deal was coming. The Lucid deal was coming. It finally did come, and they pulled the rug out from under it, and that was the top in the SPAC. So I think it's very important to keep CCIV on your screen, like Mitch is saying. If it can start holding above 20, it is a nice candle for it yesterday. I mean, you got a key reversal even yesterday, Joel. The full thing makes a new low and then makes a new high from the previous day. Above 20 psychological level makes it look more interesting. And this one didn't run like some of the other ones, so maybe there is a potential for some left. But, again, the overhead supply issue, the bag holder issue, there's so many people. I mean, we just know it just from even Twitter, or from, commentary on our comment board. I mean, so many people asking about these stocks because they're all stuck in them and they're all in pain in them. And I mean, the pain trade is, probably still to keep punishing some of these people who are in these stocks. But there is a relief rally that happened yesterday, and the relief rallies can last for a while too. So I just say the jury is still out on whether this is the start of a new bull market for SPACs, but there definitely was a nice relief rally yesterday. So that's nice to see. Like I said, I still own a few of these things. It was nice to see them go up for a change.
And just to look at the correlation in stock price, according to the news. So this obviously was boosted by Kathy, right, along the way up, right, in that journey that you had. But on
Was she a buyer in CCIV?
Oh, I'm talking about Skills now.
Oh, Skills. You went back. Yeah.
Skittles.
She buys Skills every day. She bought it again. She buys it every day.
On this day right here, I believe it was February 4th, it announced the partnership with the NFL to do mobile gaming. Look at that. Had that day, and then it had the next day, So if you were selling the news that day, you're thinking, how could I sell that at $34, $35? Well, it only took one day. Boom. You made the high after that. All-time closing high on this day. And then boom. So that the day they announced the NFL partner, because NFL has a small stake in this company. And, that was the news. The algos ran with it. So it's just, just important. And then on this day, the day that it made the low, or not, the prior day, is the day the third short report came out, or the third negative piece. I think Wolfpack Research came out on that one. And, man, I think I just got to stop doing these pre-market prep stocks of the day, because it's crazy what happened to these things. I did it on IBM one day, and I actually did a bullish piece and went up. Then I did a bullish piece on Skills yesterday. I got to stop doing these, because it is. I don't know what's happened to me. The
IBM move, IBM was the kind of stock we even said that this value stock. Yep. This is what they were gravitating to. And I mean, don't kid yourself. This was an everything rally. It wasn't just a SPAC rally yesterday. It was an everything rally. Value stocks, the reopening trade came back. You saw some of the airline stocks getting a lift. Goldman helping the cause with the NCLH upgrade yesterday. That opened and just kept running. RCL, CCL up in sympathy. The casinos were up. It was something like 9-1 advanced decliners yesterday. So this was a broad-based rally. And you know what? We've been talking about the S&P just does not pull back. It gets a 1.5-2% pullback, and there's buyers. The rotation keeps us higher. Yesterday was obviously a lot of the growth names that the money was flying back into, but the best place to have your money in the last 3 months has been SPY. It is just no volatility, just kind of straight up, and it's been the safest. Did you
survive the correction in April? Did you survive the correction on Tuesday and Wednesday? The great correction of April?
I guess I survived it.
Yeah, 41.8350 to 41.10. But
70 handles. That's a correction now. So literally 70 handles when the thing's trading 4,000. You're talking about less than 2%. That's where we are now. 2% corrections get scooped up. I mean, that SPY chart looks to me like it just, again, wants to go higher. I want to be bearish stocks. I keep wanting to be bearish stocks, and I try. And obviously, some of the growth names, they are in a full-on bear market. But, there's so many other names that just are not. It's been such a tricky tape, though, Joel, because even if you were buying some of the reopening plays a week ago, we're going to value, and then they hit those too. It's still been, besides before yesterday, it's been a tough day to be long in a lot of individual stocks. It's been rotation holding us up. We did have the predictable rotation into healthcare. I bought my Bristol Myers stock about 3 weeks ago, BMY. I think I paid 61 or something. It must be more than 3 weeks ago, because it hasn't been there. About a month ago. And, it's up 10% a month. It just quietly, the healthcare names, because they were dirt cheap. I mean, you're talking P's and some of these things of 7, 8, 9. So even Gilead, sets up, which is a stock that I've hated forever. But this stock is, looking like it's perking up too. So Pfizer has come back tremendously. Maybe it's Johnson & Johnson. Obviously that, had the problems with their shot. So more gravitation to the Pfizer. Merck has had a pretty good time. I own all these stocks, by the way. In the long-term portfolio. I've had them in there for years. But you can just see what's held us up. So it's just my point being there's so much rotation, into whatever. The money never
Hard
seems
to
to just
pick
come
it.
out of stocks. It just kind of goes into something else. So when you're long SPY, it just feels like,
Yeah.
like it just
You get
keeps
a piece
finding
of
a
it.
way.
Yep. You get a small piece of it because you have 500 stocks. I mean,
Yeah.
11 of it make up almost 30% of it.
30% now.
Yeah, you got man, you got some. The SPY chart doesn't look the same to me as the SPOO chart, but it's because it doesn't trade all the time. But you got a huge level in the S&Ps up top, and that's going to be the gateway to making new all-time highs. You got a top. Anybody looking at the chart can figure out exactly what I'm talking about. But let's go to the earnings. We got some earnings here. We got some stocks moving off earnings.
Yeah, so they keep asking about AT&T in the chat. It is up $1 this morning. EPS beat, sales beat, HBO Max subscribers beat. As we said, easier to grow when you're 6 months old versus Netflix, which is a decade old. But everything came in above estimates for AT&T, and the stock is up in the pre-market this morning.
It's a value name too. So This we talked about a few days ago, saying it started to look like it's perking up a bit. It's a stock that I had for a long time, and I've sold it, but it's still kind of at the same place. It just doesn't seem to go anywhere. I mean, it trades like a bond, right?
Yeah,
it's got the 6.66% dividend. So even if you're just sitting, it doesn't go anywhere. You're making 6% of your money, which is a hell of a lot better than a T-bill at fractions of a percent. So, I mean, if you think the cash flow is still stable and the dividend's safe, they've done a lot of bad investments, but I think the dividend's safe short term for sure. Nothing's for sure, but I feel fairly confident that the dividend's safe in the near term. I mean, I'm not chasing AT&T up $1, but this is the kind of stock that they're looking at value names, and AT&T on a valuation perspective is not expensive.
Yep. Wow, it's traded a lot of stock here. 31.50 is the pre-market high. I mean, it could open there. I just
always those 50-cent increments, right?
Yeah.
Let's go look at the book. We haven't looked at the book in a while. We haven't talked the book in a while.
What do you think? Where do you think this thing's going to open, Dennis? You're really good at this. I mean,
you go look at the book on the big names.
Oh my
gosh. Where is it thicking up? So let's go AT&T. Look at the book. It is just loaded with stuff. So 30.50. You can say, how is there an offer at 30.50? Because New York's offers aren't traded yet. New York is closed right now. So I can see at 30.50's got 120,000 shares to go. It is just so littered. 220,000 to go at 31. Again, it's traded 2.6 million, so it can chew through all that. The book's so thick, I can't even see up to 31.5. But you're looking here. There's a big number at 31. Where's the imbalance at this early in the morning? You're just trying to do basic, grade 1 math. It's only 23,000 shares to buy so far, so it's fairly limited yet. It's early with the trade. I'm going to say, I'll go out on a limb and say it's going to have trouble opening over 31.
I would say I
think it probably might open at 31 on the kisser.
Yeah.
So that's, and it's early yet. A lot of things can happen. We're an hour and 10 minutes from the open, but it's going to need a lot more volume to come in, to a lot more
buyers.
A lot of buyers to chew through.
Yep.
Probably before 31 in the New York book. I'm like, there's some marketable limits even there, but let me just go 32,000, 30 and a quarter, 27,000, 30, 40, 14,000, 30, 50, 120,000 to go. I'm ignoring the little stuff. 30, 55, 10,000, 30, 60, 22,000, 30, 70, 24,000, 30, 75, 57,000 shares to sell. 30, 90s are littered, probably another like 100,000 shares in there. 31, 220,000 shares. So you can quickly see it takes well over 1 million shares probably just to get it up to 31, 1 million shares worth of buying power. Now it's traded 2.7 million. So the volume is high enough that it is possible it could open up here because it's traded so much volume. But about half of the pre-market volume so far, it would take on the opening print to get it to open over 31. So unless, they really talk it up on CNBC, which they might. I mean, CNBC is very influential, and they're probably going to have time to talk about it. Kramer comes out and says, I'd buy AT&T right now. That changes stuff. The influence that Jim Cramer has is incredible. So, you've got to just be careful, just randomly shorting a stock because there's a lot more information to come yet. What does CNBC say about it? What do the analysts say about it? That's all going to influence. We're still in the digestion period after the print here. So, but just looking from book pressure and looking what's in the book, it's about 1 million shares probably to get her up to 31. That's not talking 31.5, where it's still going to be all the way up.
I was going to try and get a launch bet in that the high was in, but I figured you wouldn't go for that 31.50. I'm feeling.
I think the high is in too at 31.50, but we'll see. I mean, lots more information. It's holding up well. So far so good for AT&T.
Okay.
Wait, Jerome Powell is in the chat, and he's asking a good question.
Oh, great. Hi, Jerome.
Well, you know,
Pumping Powell.
He's going by his alias here. But what happened to sell the rip? That's what we've been talking about, and that's not. I'm not getting that vibe from you guys this morning.
I'd sell Skills rip. I'll say it right now. I'd sell it. 1913. I think I already said $20 major resistance. If I was in it, I think I started the show with it. I think it was 19, so it's already 15 cents higher up. If I was in Skills, I'd sell it. So some stocks, yes. Overall market, I don't know. We're not having a rip this morning, Spencer. We're down 20 cents.
I'm talking about in like Arrival, right, and Skills and Viacom.
Well, I'm telling you, I would sell the rip and Skills.
Viacom.
That's my opinion. Viacom, Karen, and Tim give the double team up on Viacom is massively oversold too. This stock was $100 a month ago. It's $40.
2-for-1 stock split.
I mean, it's one thing to have a 40% rally in 2 days like Skills. I mean, Viacom has just, and we know a lot of that had to do, with Wang and obviously taking $20 billion just from Credit Suisse
we just found that out this morning too.
Yeah, we found out that his exposure and just in Credit Suisse was $20 billion. How much money? What kind of fun was this guy running? Like, how much money did he have? $20 billion just with CS, and they had GS, and he had Morgan, and and he's over. He was everywhere.
He should have had
running like
$100
billion hedge fund with not that much money.
Well, but it was all leverage though, so that
I know that's scary as hell.
I like the discovery chart now. I'm gonna say it out there. I like the discovery chart now. I think this one actually has a business, has revenue, and you're gonna see Discovery Plus be one of the biggest winners in streaming. I'm calling it now, guys. One of the biggest winners in streaming. Why? Because if you go and you ask, I can ask my fiance right now. What shows do you watch? Food Network, HGTV.
Right. So it's all on Discovery Plus, right?
It's all on Discovery Plus. And so right now I just cut the cord with Sling. I used to be spending about $65. Now I'm spending about $35 just because I have Discovery Plus, Disney Plus. I have ESPN, because the whole package with Disney. And then I also am going to go and I got my sporting packages. I got the MLB package. I got the NBA package. So I got everything I need without having the cord, and a lot cheaper at a monthly value by doing multiple services.
Chris is asking about the Discovery stocks. I mean, if you look, just trade the one with the most volume.
Stay away from that thin one. What's the thin one?
B.
Yeah, what?
B.
Yeah, that one's crazy.
Man.
Don't touch those, man. Those are thin. They're trade by appointment only. I mean, you could say, "Oh, it was 140. I want to buy that one," and they can go anywhere. Those are more gambling, but they're all gambling. I mean, all stock investing is gambling. But yeah, I agree with Mitch. That was a nice candle. This isn't like Skills where it just rallied 40% in a day.
Right.
I mean, this is, a reasonable rally. So on a pullback here on DISCA, DISCK, I actually was trying to buy these in my long-term portfolio. I had orders sitting out there on DISCA at 30. So I don't think
you're
getting there now.
Lowball it. Well,
yeah, because you got crushed and it's been leaking. I don't know. Maybe there's some capitulation day that's coming in. So this was a stock that I wanted to own at 30. It's 38. It's not ridiculously far from where my price was compared to where it is. So would I pay up to 38 now and say I'm not going to get it? And DISCA, I think, was the one I was trying at 30. DISCK did hit 30. I think I was probably at 25 on that one, or maybe those orders expired. I put them in there a while ago. Sometimes I throw them out there, for a few weeks because I kind of like the levels. That's just, that's in my long-term portfolio. I was looking, to put some money into Discovery in my long-term portfolio. I could get down during that one. Why I picked Discovery over Viacom? A lot of the stuff that Mitch just talked about. I do think I agree with you that Discovery is going to have a big player. It could be a player in streaming as well. So I kind of like the DISCK here too.
There are a couple of stocks that were playing ball yesterday and are giving back a good chunk of those gains this morning through no fault of their own. But Fisker and RIDE, Lordstown Motors, are both down this morning, courtesy of Goldman Sachs downgrading Fisker to sell, RIDE to neutral. They both get price targets of $10.
Yeah, I know. Down 10% on Fisker. If you are so inclined to play the SPACs, I mean, I'd rather buy the dip in Fisker than buy the rip in Skills today. So I own Fisker already, so I'm talking my book. Obviously, I sold half of it. Wish I would have sold it all. I'd be rebuying it probably if I sold it all. It's a tough downgrade for Fisker today because Fisker would probably have been up farther because all the SPACs are building on yesterday's gains. So there's an argument to be made that Fisker could be trading 15.5, especially the Biden commentary overnight. There's an argument to be made that Fisker could be trading 15.5 or $16 if it didn't get this downgrade. And now it's 13.68 because of the downgrade. So that's an opinion. Obviously, an analyst is always an opinion, and this opinion it's kind of, in my opinion, a little bit overdone. So I actually would be inclined to buy the dip in this. I already own it though, so I don't know if I'm going to add back the shares that I sold. But with the SPAC rally and stuff that we had yesterday, but again, you see that sell rating. It's going to get set on CNBC probably 25 times a day, and it spooks everyone. And it's Goldman too. I mean, Goldman's very influential. Yep. So
this one is.
What do you do on this? What would you do?
This is an easy setup.
Okay. Give me the easy setup.
I like it. I mean, I'm not trading it, not buying it, not selling it today. But if I had to, I'd be buying it right here.
Right in here.
Yep, because you had a $3 move off the low, $1.50 that put you 13.70. Everyone that was short this thing is saying, "Oh my, I love Goldman Sachs. Thank you so much, knocking this down $1.50. It's $1.40 off the low. Thank you very much. It's a gift from heaven." What was I going to do? Was I going to add to it at 16? Was I going to buy? And the other thing too is how easy is it to buy and accumulate this stock on days like this, right? If you're short or if you're trying, it's just easy. You don't have to do anything. You just put 14 bids, slam, 1380 bid, slam, 1350 for bigger size, slam. Now then this day was kind of funky, but that's if you want to do a swing trade, and you're looking at something like
stop
that.
Yourself at the low.
What? I'm sorry? And
stop yourself out at the low.
Exactly.
So you come in here buying at 1370, you stop yourself out at the 1223. Yeah, I like the Fisker story. I sold half of it into the rally because I was uncomfortable with my size. I didn't want it as a full size position anymore because, to be honest, it was just moving down too much.
It was going down.
I like to cut my losers. So Shahab saying, "What about cutting your losers?" I absolutely did on Fisker into the rally because I bought at 16, and it got 4 days straight down to 12. Gets a nice rally up to 14. And then obviously built on yesterday, so I was a little bit early cutting the loser there. I'm still in half of the position. I only sold half of it. So my question is, do I rebuy that other half that I just sold? Because now we have new information that SPACs are starting to feel a little more love again. So which makes me so inclined to. I'm just skeptical of the SPAC rally altogether. If I was confident in the SPAC rally, I would buy this.
It's a difficult road, to go back up. I mean
It's been a difficult month trading, Joel. This has been a tricky month.
Look at Fubo. Look how many chances Fubo gave you, right? I mean, well, not as of late, but, after it hit 60, it popped again up just under 60. Lower highs on the monthly. You know what has always scared me about this stock? Is this bar right here. And I know we talked about it with Mitch and everything, but and I know it wasn't a reverse split, but I see bars like this, I'm like, wow, that just kind of should probably just get rid of it. I should probably just put a weekly and forget about it. But it's just, you're dealing with overhead supply. Depends on your time horizon, but it's not the same path going up after the first time it goes up, they're all winners. Everyone's winner chicken dinner. And now they're like, man, if that Fisker gets back to $16, I'm just, I'm getting out. washing my hands.
I do want to mention for the second week in a row, we just had an initial jobless claims print well below the estimate. So 547,000 jobless claims filed last week versus a 617,000 estimate. It is also lower than last week's number, which itself was well below the estimate. So that's 2 good weeks in a row on the jobless claims front, and the market did pop on that headline a few moments ago. I do want to bring on our guest as well, Peter Tuchman, the Einstein of Wall Street. Normally joins us from the floor, but is at home today. That's quite all right. Peter, good morning.
Hey guys, how you doing? Sorry about the my alternate reality for a moment. I had a surgery on my shoulder. I didn't want to interrupt our momentum because I love you guys. So we'll be back to the floor next week.
Not used to, I'm so used to seeing you with whatever it is in your hand, and you're making crazy expressions. You're looking up at the screen at a huge gainer or a huge loser, but so I'm getting a different vibe from you. But
well, he's only got one hand right now, but he's still got the one hand moving there. So
I got one. We can go crazy.
We hope you feel better, Peter, soon.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate it.
Peter, what do you make of just the turnaround yesterday in all these stocks that were just so out of favor for the last several months?
You know what, guys? It's sort of, I started to bring it up a little bit last week when I talked about what I actually do on the floor and how we are given access to information of the market on closed buy imbalances, right? When people with large order flow will, whether they're high wealth individuals or whether they are large institutions, in a market that's got this volatility. Think about it. If you've got like 1 million shares to buy over the day, whoever you may be, you basically, from my experience, basically you want to beat the VWAP is what we call it, right? Volume weighted average price. So you want to buy a couple 100,000 on the opening, maybe 250. You may want to buy 250,000, in the morning, pick your spots. Then you want to go into an algorithm midday and buy another 250. And then you want to put in 250 to buy on the close. That's that's sort of a simplistic way of describing what one may do. If they're a large institution, then they have 1 million shares to buy. But what ends up happening when a lot of different institutions have that kind of order flow, we on the floor get to see what their interest is on the bell. And what we do, which is one of the business models that I've done over the last number of years, is to be able to track, not everybody is a buyer on the bell. There are people who have 1 million to sell over the day, right? So there's obviously that supply and demand in the marketplace. But what you end up seeing is you will often see large buy imbalances or sell imbalances with a percentage into the last 2 hours of the day. And what we saw yesterday was $1.6 billion to buy on the bell. It doesn't always convert into a reaction in the S&P 500, but sometimes it does. And the last couple of days it has. We saw it happen last Friday. We saw it happen yesterday, where the market just, we posted out at 2 o'clock, 500 million to buy. We had about 500,000 to buy in Visa. That was sizable dollar notional value, right? And then as the afternoon wore on, it started getting bigger and bigger. And we were about at the peak around 80% to buy, almost 1.6 billion, I believe. And that will actually have an impact. That's tracking 378 different S&P stocks on the floor, right? So I was not surprised by it. It's something that I do. It's something that I track. And it's sort of an exciting thing to be able to see what a conglomeration of the S&P can actually do to a marketplace. So I was not surprised by yesterday's rally.
What about imbalances going into the open, though? I mean, we talk about those as well on our show, and how can that? What kind of a hint does that give you about how the day could go?
So, good question once again. In the old days, look, we've got stocks trading around the clock now, right? Back in the old days, there were only a few trading venues. And so the significance of the New York Stock Exchange, right? The actual NYSE opening bell was more significant, right? It is pretty significant, even though not volume-wise, but it does purport the way the market or some of the stocks will go into the day. You do see stocks trading around the globe that maybe sort of, and the S&P trades, the spiders we know trade around the clock, right? And so there is a dislocation often in the morning. I tend to be somebody who goes with the contrarian trade, that if the market is down, I will look, let's say the market is down 0.5% on the opening due to a sort of a weak reaction to the employment numbers and sort of rotation of money and whatever it may be today, because each day there seems to be some reason for the market going up or down 0.5% or 0.2%. You'll see a big reaction on the opening that is often contrarian, right? Where let's say the market's trading down 0.5% away due to whatever reason it may be. It may be one large stock, it may be the index itself, right? But we do not have enough on the New York Stock Exchange for sale on the opening, right? The opening of the market is based on supply and demand of those 378 stocks plus the Dow, that how it will open in New York, right? And so you will see sometimes that if you don't have enough volume to support or establish resistance on where it's trading away, you may see a contrarian reaction. As I will describe, sometimes we'll see markets trading down 0.5% overnight, right? We come into New York, you know what? It's actually not really for sale at the New York Stock Exchange on the opening. It's sort of a mixed bag at best. Well, there is an opportunity then to let the market open. We let people shake out their positions, and then we kind of buy it on a contrarian prognosis that we will basically say, you know what, there's not enough to keep this market down to where it was trading. We kind of let it open, and at 9:31 time, we take a shot for a bit of a pop on the S&P on the opening.
How long does it typically take? You mentioned working through a plan throughout the day, working through orders at the open, doing some sort of algorithmic stuff during the day, and then at the close. But I would imagine that, most of the volume is at the open and at the close. So I would imagine that most of these orders, most of these plans are finished by 10:30, 11, no?
You know what? There are so many different algorithms. There's so many different, I think people have had to reinvent themselves over the last year to try and figure out, we've seen such big moves, right? Intraday over 15, 20 minutes sometimes, since March 2020, we've seen some big, bold moves, whether it's news related, whether it's Fed related, whether it's, the virus, the vaccine, volatility, the 3 V's, as I call it, anything can happen these days. So what you're seeing is it's never really over. There's a movement there is a directionality in the market at any given time in the day. When one guy stops his algo, somebody else is picking it up. Some people will buy 100 on the opening and then just let it rest. Let's try to see where the bodies are buried, right? And then he'll pick it up again at 10:30. For me, what ends up happening is at 2:00, we get to see what the initial posting, and I hope I hope if people don't understand what I'm talking about, I'm happy to explain it more in depth, because it's kind of a fascinating thing, the way to see how markets trade into the closing bell. They are really a function of the supply and demand within the S&P 500. But you're going to see that markets, a lot of the volume obviously happens on the opening, not as much as before. Most of it's happening on the close, but you'll also see a lot of this trending volume from 2:00 on, because there are people who do get the information about the buy and sell imbalances on the close, coming into the close, and there's a trade there. I always look for opportunity, and I know you guys do too. Sometimes it may be earnings, sometimes it may be the S&P, sometimes it may be news and whatnot. And then sometimes it's these market on close opportunities where depending on what there is to buy and sell. We also have, once again, there's another contrarian model, which is that what is actually posted may not be, at the end of the day, for every buy order that comes in, there's pretty much usually a sell order that will pair it off within a certain range, right? So sometimes we pay contrarian to what's actually even being posted. You know what? It's a fascinating thing. I think what I learn on a day-to-day basis, even when I'm sitting at home and I'm not trading, to watch kind of forensically break down what people are trying to do. We saw it more than ever with the Wall Street bets and the Reddit story, that there are people who hold the course. There are people who get in too high and too late and lose money. There are people who play the contrarian game. There's always opportunity in this market. That's why one of the things that David and I try and talk about too is never, you described it before I just got on, is never turn a winning trade into a losing trade, right? There are always opportunities. Risk management is the key to this, to surviving another day, because there will be another opportunity if you don't blow up your account really quickly.
Peter, before I let you go, I want to ask you, we haven't asked you this yet. You've been on a couple of times though. Give us a good floor story, a nice, crazy, but yet safe for work if you can, floor story from all your years down on the exchange.
Okay, let's see, a floor story. Wow. I'm trying to think of some great stories about, going to, well, look, in the old days, there used to be, we've had, in the old days, there used to be sort of some pranks that people used to do. We used to do things called powder people's shoes, right? When we've actually powdered, even Ronald Reagan's shoes got powdered. When a guest used to come down on the floor, right, someone would come up behind, I don't know if any of you guys have been on the floor, but even people who have been there more than once, there's sort of that adrenaline and excitement you get when you're down there. And so people who haven't been there that often can often be intimidated. It is a little overwhelming. And so especially when a celebrity comes down or something like that, you'll see people get sort of all wrapped up in the conversation that they're having with a broker. Somebody may be sort of starstruck by who it is and whatnot. And while that's happening, somebody will walk up behind them, and we will always have a small little thing of baby powder, and we'll just dump on their shoes. We've had fun stories. I had a fun story with Donny Osmond once on the floor, and they're funny because we've had a lot of celebrities on the floor over the years. I think my favorite story, is my story with Shaquille O'Neal, where he was on the floor talking about penny stocks, and I happened to be standing next to him. He was doing a show on CNBC, and apparently he's got quite a nice portfolio, which he has his broker trade, and then he's got these penny stocks that he loves to trade on his own. I was standing there waiting for an autograph from my son, and he started talking about penny stocks, and he calls me over, and he goes, "Hey, Pete, come over here." And I'm going like, why does Shaq know my name? And I had forgotten that I was actually wearing a badge that had my name on it. And he comes over and he says, when I sit at home, I like to get dressed up like Pete, and I love to trade stocks. And he kind of out of nowhere just grabs me by the head and kisses me on the top of my head. And it ended up going viral on Google. It was called Shaq Kisses Tiny Trader. It was sort of a fun one. I'll pick a story a week for you guys. There have been celebrity stories. They've been great. Hey, one quick thing. We used to send newcomers out to go find a box of plus ticks, right? You guys know what a plus tick is. When a stock goes from up a quarter to up a half. When a newcomer would come down to the floor to get a job, we'd tell them at around 10 o'clock, you got to go out and find a box of plus ticks, which obviously don't exist. And so they would spend the day searching all over Wall Street for a box of plus ticks.
Man, Peter Tuchman is the Einstein of Wall Street Global Trading Academy. Peter, always a pleasure, man. Thanks a lot. Feel better.
Good. Thanks, guys. See you soon.
All right. He's always a character.
That's
that
fun.
Guy. Always crazy people. All right. Let's do some more here. There was we got to Fisker Ride. We got to AT&T. We didn't talk about Chipotle. If you want to talk about that, we didn't talk about the airlines. We talk about that. Whirlpool. We can go there. Where'd you guys like to go? There's a few things that we haven't gotten to yet. We can do ticker time.
Let's go to Chipotle. It's widely traded, CMG. You are seeing a relief pop in this one too after yesterday. It's interesting. There was hardly any stocks down yesterday, but CMG was one of them. Obviously, it had reported earnings here overnight. So give us those numbers here, Spencer. But interesting that was down into the print in yesterday's tape.
Interesting. So the EPS beat, the sales were in line, and for the first time in their history, they made more money last quarter from digital, which is online and in-app purchases, than they did from in-store purchases.
It's holding up well. You had an initial reaction was down on the print, on the earnings print. Now it's holding up well. That's the good news. Bad news is 1550 is such massive resistance up there.
Well, Dennis,
tough to get long.
You always told me to give one stock, one level, and I'm going to give one level.
Give it to me.
And you only missed it by $5, 16.55. I mean,
15.65. I hope.
Yeah, 15. Yeah, or 15.57.50, whatever you want to call it.
Bill's
Three of the
nickel and
last
diming
four
me.
highs, 15.55 to 15.66, 15.60.83. Right there. That's your number.
That's
And you're
a
still
resistance.
$18 away from that. I don't think you get there.
I don't think so either. I think you'll find sellers before that.
Yep.
They're asking about steel. I see Michael Nicosia is putting Cleveland Cliffs and Nucor in there. The CLF had earnings this morning. They missed on their EPS. They missed on their sales. Nucor also had earnings this morning. They beat on their EPS, but also missed on their revenue.
I own Nucor. I mean, I still like the infrastructure.
You're hanging
play.
in there.
Yeah, I don't know what to say. It's been a hell of a run. So, could there be a pullback on these things? Absolutely. I just think if you're believing in this, great roaring 20s theme going to be coming after COVID, steel is going to be a big part of it. So it's hard to be bearish on steel here, even though it's had a great run.
It's holding up, and I'm keep being nervous about this one for you. Kind of like, I don't know. It's just such an unprecedented run for this thing, after this month and then this.
Yeah, but
month.
look at lumber prices. I mean, everything's an unprecedented run. Anything building materials has just been crazy.
And I know they're discussing that, the package, and the Republicans got, want different stuff. I mean, I think the best thing for Nucor, at least, and X has already come off, is just to hold on. It's just to hold in here. Not breach 78, hold in there, and unless they cancel the package or it rolls over, then you're good to go north.
Next,
it's funny.
So much for AT&T opening it. I'm glad you didn't take that lunch bet, Dennis. Holy Toledo.
Yeah, but look at the volume now. It's done another 2 million
doubled
shares.
It. Yeah,
so we needed 1 million to get through 31. Right now, we're literally at
5 million.
5 million. So it's got enough volume.
Wow.
It's continuing to climb. I don't know if they're talking about on CNBC or not. But
Kramer talking about it. Joel.
Oh my Lord, Dennis!
We talked about that's the risk. He probably must have said, "Oh, I love AT&T. I'd buy it." I mean,
oh my Lord,
stupid, but that's move stocks.
You called that. I don't.
Did he say it? Did he talk about it?
Well, I'm not listening to him, but I'm sure
you saw it up on the screen.
Yeah.
Dennis, that's your best call you've ever made on this show.
Oh my! If that's my best call, I'm not doing very well, Joel. I'm making calls on this show.
You said unless, and then the producers from CNBC heard what you said, and then I saw him slip a little note to Kramer, and then Kramer said it. Oh my Lord!
Nope.
Dennis, you should retire right now. Go buy another property.
If that's my best call. I have problems, man.
What's gonna happen is Kramer's retiring. He's getting out. He's getting out of the game soon.
Dennis is going to replace him.
Kramer's never going to retire.
He's never retired.
I'll tell you who's going to replace him.
He'll never retire.
Money Mitch.
Yeah. What would Money Mitch replace him? What would?
I'll tell you why. Look at Sling today. Look at Dish.
That's Dish.
I was talking about it yesterday. I was like, streaming services, getting into the betting game. Look for those plays. I was talking about it with Bet's CEO, Will Hershey, on Money Mitch, and look at Dish today. Look at that play. They made what's the news, Spencer?
What on Dish? I have no idea.
Yesterday.
Was there news on Dish? I totally missed it.
Sling TV, man. Come on.
The DraftKings thing. Yeah, the DraftKings channel on Sling. That was the news. DraftKings channel.
So pretty much, guys, everyone thinks of Dish as the actual Dish, but really, Dish has changed their business and they're focused more on their Sling TV. I wish they can spin that off because that's what I would really buy. But Dish itself here, getting into all these plays, getting a partnership with DraftKings, you're going to see more of these streaming plays and media connecting themselves with these sports books. Keep looking for these plays. I talked about it on Money Mitch. I'm going to keep looking for some more because it's not going to stop.
Wait. Okay, so Money Mitch is going to replace Kramer, but I have a question. Dennis and Joel, are either of you interested in guest hosting Jeopardy?
Ooh, that looks fun. That sounds
Because-
fun.
Not me. I'm one of those people that watch Jeopardy, and I don't get any of the questions. I never get an answer. I guess you're supposed to get the question.
David Faber is guest hosting Jeopardy, and I thought if he can do it, then we can do it.
I definitely can't.
I say
David
one
Faber's
man,
smart.
right
He's
above
been
me.
on Jeopardy. He does pretty good. I have zero general knowledge.
All right.
Trivia stuff. Even Trivial Pursuit, when we played that as a kid, I sucked at that. I was like, I already said I was a jack of no trades, master of one. I know trading, and that's all I know. I know stock trading. So I think
Joel would like it.
Joel's got some general trivia knowledge. He knows some stuff. Do you do good on Jeopardy? When you watch Jeopardy, can you pound out some answers or questions?
They start bringing stuff up like from 1700s. This artist created this painting.
How do people know that stuff?
I don't know. Mona Lisa? I mean, I don't even know.
How do people know that stuff?
Can I tell you how? It's all lists. It's all lists. You just have to memorize the lists. If you memorize,
why do you do that?
Memorize every.
Why do you want to do that? Memorize lists.
It's fun for people, man. It's fun. What can I say?
I know there's like some people and that are really good at this.
I have a game thing that we can do Jeopardy, Spencer. I already have it.
I watch Jeopardy all the time.
I suck at games.
We're gonna have to rock it out. I think Joel could do it. Joel could be a good guest.
Anthony Jr. says they have no life. That could also be true. Okay, wait. We got a couple minutes left here. Let's just do a couple more.
Ticker time. 30 seconds each.
Ticker time.
Mitch is in here too. Mitch, we're gonna do Mitch and we're gonna go Joel, me, okay. Mitch. Joel, me, Mitch. Let's go for
in the chat. 1 for bullets, 2 for bear.
Yeah. Well, here's a question. Peloton holding on to 100 for dear life. Ryan Fink, PTON. I don't know who wants it. Whoever wants it.
Dear life, 100's very important. Awful day for it yesterday, considering everything was rallying. We found one stock that was down yesterday. We found 2 now. I think 100's critical for this to hold. Next,
let's go airlines because we had a couple earnings this morning. We had American and we had Southwest. So you want to go LUV?
Whoever's up next.
I don't know. Joel, LUV.
Joel.
LUV.
Survey says. What are the earnings?
Yeah, the earnings were the same as every other airline. They lost money last quarter. They're
it's up $1. That must have been good.
Same as every other airline.
Show me what it does at 64.75. That's the all-time high. The longer it takes to get up there, take
all-time
that out.
high? No, we're not an all-time high on Love, are we?
Close.
We're at an all-time high on an airline.
It's the largest airline in America.
66.99. Champ.
Crazy world we live in.
Reason why I think this one's up and not all of them. International, not as highly affecting here in Love.
Right, because they don't fly international. Right.
Exactly. That's what it is, guys. So international is the worry right now because Europe's still closed up.
Yeah, and they're talking about needing a vaccine passport. That doesn't impact Southwest at all. Snapchat earnings tonight. Mitch, do you have thoughts?
Snapchat, it's been really starting to make some money on their ads. That's where it's at. Look at their ad revenue.
We've dipped into the report too. So if the market, so it's gonna be a market impact here too. If the market can turn around and start rallying today, they'll look for stocks that haven't rallied yet, and that'll be they'll gravitate more to a stock like Snap if it just has an okay report. So all depends. Where's the market at 4 o'clock? Are we buying stocks? Are we selling stocks? And then look at the Snap report. And if it's wishy-washy, the market could actually dictate the direction.
Intel also tonight. If anyone has thoughts on Intel,
value play. Joel, you own this, so you might.
Yeah, it got sacked on that NVIDIA news, but this is what it likes to do. It likes to make a couple lows or a couple highs in the same area, and then reverse. You saw the 2 highs here, reverse, 2 lows here, reverse. So to me, it looks like it's heading back up. I don't know about the reports. I mean, I'm not going to worry holding this long term. I'm not.
All right, we'll do last one here. Las Vegas Sands. They had earnings last night. Same story as the airlines. They all lost money last quarter, right? But they're returning to profitability.
I think one thing to remember is they're not going to be in Las Vegas anymore, right?
Right. Don't forget that Las Vegas Sands ain't in Vegas.
Oh, that's crazy.
Don't forget that.
I think that's important.
They're all up in Macau.
Las Vegas.
All up in Macau, not Vegas.
That's a really tough market to call stocks. It is. Yeah. We are kind of all over the place on all these charts. We have a big reversal day yesterday. So you start thinking, okay, I'm going to buy the dip, but then there's some stocks that didn't participate. You're talking. I mean, this is just a really tough market to call right now.
I'm gonna actually go bullish on this one. Why? Because they're in not Las Vegas. I'm bearish Las Vegas, bullish Macau.
There we go. All right, that's gonna be a wrap for pre-market.
That's it.
Yes,
we're not going overtime.
No, we cannot.
One more. Cannabis, bullish. Those charts looking good, guys. They're starting to turn around. Maybe we get a bounce off of that. Just
nice
like
CGC candle yesterday. You know what? I could get on board on CGC. It bounced right off a critical support 25, put in a double bottom yesterday perfectly at 25.11. I'd be a buyer pullbacks in CGC, the only cannabis stock. I'm going with Kramer, the only one I want.
The only Canadian.
Leave it to the Colorado boy to mention pot stocks.
The only Canadian one you like.
No, I don't like any of the American ones at all. So
hey, that's real quick. We're gonna have Rob on at 3:30. Just talking quantitative trading. Just all this talk. What Kramer says and Twitter chasing things. All your years and everything. When you approach the markets, what do you think is the best way to approach them?
Quantitatively.
Okay.
100%. If we just listen to what Peter was talking about, he was taking a quantitative approach to the market. Just like I'm adding up AT&T and looking, okay, well, where's the math? Is there enough math to do that? That's what Peter was talking about basically too, is the same thing. So all of my money, people think that you make money by guessing direction of stocks. I've made most of my money in the stock market by not guessing directions of stocks, not making calls, but taking advantage of market inefficiencies, looking for patterns, looking for the quantitative approach. Anybody can say, I think that I like the chart, it's going to go up. I like the chart, I don't like the chart, I think it's going to go down. There's 6 million people trying to do that. I mean, that's not an edge, but looking at information, looking at the book. I mean, LUV, you gave that earlier. 65, if I go look at the book, is 89,000 shares. Well, it's like a goalie in hockey. It's going to be a stopper. It's going to be tougher for it to go through that level. So I'd be so inclined to maybe shorter in the upper 64s and maybe catch a reversal. Takes out 65, I get out. Discipline, limiting the risk, and then taking a quantitative approach to the market and looking, at book pressure and different things, reading the tape. That all helps, but the quantitative approach, relationship-based trading, is how I make almost all of my money.
All right, guys, smash the like button. bzsmallcap.com to attend today's Clean Tech event. I will be moderating one of the tracks. Smash the like button. Subscribe to Benzinga Clips on YouTube. YouTube 20 is your Benzinga Pro code. Get 20% off there. Everyone have a good rest of your day. I won't see you till tomorrow. You'll see Joel at the close on the Pre-Market Prep YouTube channel. Everyone have a good rest of your day. Good luck at the open and smash